Hey Mixers, welcome back to another WNBA player props video. We're giving away some cash today because our best bets went 4-1 yesterday, so we had a pretty good day. So we're going to be giving some cash away. If you want to get in the mix for today's cash giveaway, I have 4 best bets for you, so you're just going to have to subscribe, like the video, and comment hashtag in the mix with 2 of those best bets. If those 2 best bets hit, you'll be entered into that cash giveaway contest. All right, so let's go ahead and spin that wheel. And there were a lot of people on the wheel today, but it looks like we have at Vela17. She commented hashtag in the mix, Gabby and Alyssa. Those 2 did crush it for us. So Vela, you have not won before. You're a new winner. So what I need you to do is I need you to reach out to me on Instagram or on X because I can't reach out to you on YouTube. I will leave a comment on your comment to remind you to reach out, but I need you to reach out to me to get that prize money. And then I'll get it sent to you. So thank you so much for the support, and let's jump into the recap from a couple of days ago because we didn't have a chance to recap that. So a couple of days ago, we just had the 1-game slate with the Lynx and the Liberty, and we took Dejanay Carrington over 10.5 points. She only had 4. She came in and didn't make the best of her minutes early on. She shot 1 for 4, and so she didn't earn more minutes. And when you're coming off the bench, you have to play well to earn those minutes. So she just didn't earn those minutes and didn't see the court much after that. She obviously did come back in, throughout the game, but she just didn't get the ball. She wasn't a heavily used player because she missed, she went 1 and 4 on her first 4 shots. And then Sabrina also missed her line. So, I mean, they were paired together, so it doesn't really matter to me since the bet was lost anyway. But she also missed hers. I know a lot of people were on Natasha Cloud, and she had a great game. So I'm happy for everyone who was on Natasha Cloud or anyone who was on Courtney Williams, who also had a great game. So the next day, we had a great day. We went 4-1 on our 5 best bets. Dearica Hamby over 23.5 points rebounds. She had 33, so she crushed that line. Alyssa Thomas over 31.5 PRA. She crushed that line with 40. I told you could play that all the way up to 33.5. And then Gabby Williams over 9.5 points. She had 13 and she got 11. She had 11 early and then got 2 more later that we obviously didn't need. But that's insane that they just keep giving us her at 9.5 points. So we might be targeting the Seattle team a lot. Jackie Young over 21.5 points and assists. She only had 13. She wasn't having the best day. She did go over her assists, though, which I also called out in the video. I said you could just take her on the 4.5 assists, which she did clear, but she did not get there in points. And then Allisha Gray under 5.5 rebounds. She only had 3. She had 1 in the first half and then 2 early in the second half, and I was getting a little worried there. But then she did nothing the rest of the game. They had the game well in hand, so she wasn't too aggressive. That brings us to a total WNBA run of 105, 74, and 2, which is 58.66%. And then our leans were okay. They weren't great. Allisha Gray did shoot 2 3-pointers finally. She shot 2 for 10. Tina Charles did go over her 3.5 Q1 points line with 8. Aaliyah Boston hooked her points line with 14. Sonia Citron only had 4 rebounds and assists. We liked her over 7.5. She had a lot of points, though. And I did call out in the video that she had a great scoring matchup and that you could take her PRA or her rebounds and assists, and I picked the wrong one there. Jewel Lloyd over 1.5 3-pointers. She had 4. Tiffany Hayes over 12.5 points. She only had 4 and shot 1 for 9, so it wasn't her night. And then Skylar Diggins, she only shot 2 3-pointers, missed them both. The first one went in and jiggled back and forth and popped out, and then the second one was an air ball, and so. Yeah, she wasn't going to get there for us for that bonus bet for the plus money. I think I have a bonus bet for you today. We'll have to see. Today's slate is a 5-game slate, but I didn't find as much value as I found on the previous 5-game slate. But we'll go through it. The Lynx are going to New York to take on the Liberty for the 4th time in just a couple of weeks. And I actually like the Liberty to get the win outright here. I think that they've been beat up by this Lynx team. They're sick of it. And I think that they're going to get a win here at home. So I don't know what the money line on that is. I can't bet that in my state, so I haven't bothered to check. But I think that there's a good chance the Liberty could win that one. The Sun at the Mystics. This is going to be a really ugly game, I think. I do have a bet from it, but I think it's going to be a really ugly game. The Storm and the Sky, I think this is going to be the best game for player props. And then the Aces and the Dream, I also think will be a good game for player props. And then the Mercury and the Valkyries will be a good game for player props. So those are the games we focused on today. And let's just jump into it. The first one I have for you here is A'ja Wilson under 40.5 PRA. So the number's just too big. She can get over that line, of course, but she's only over 40% of the time in her home matchups, which is where she plays better. And she did have 41 against the Dream previously, but Ryan Howard was not playing in that game. I don't know how much of a difference that will make. I do think that this Atlanta team is the second best team in the league. I said that in the last video. And so I just think, A'ja could struggle here to put up, back-to-back home 40-plus point PRA games. I know she can do it. Obviously she can do it. It's A'ja Wilson. But we cashed a ton of unders on her early in the year when the line was right here, like way too high. And we're going to go right back to it. So A'ja under 40.5 PRA. Allisha Gray over 3.5 assists. This is plus money. So this is not favored by the books to hit. I want to make that clear. They are favoring for her to go under this line and hit 3. We're taking over. She's over in 58% of games away with Ryan on the court. And she only had one head-to-head with the Aces previously this year, which Ryan Howard did not play in that game. We already mentioned that. Jordan Canada had 6 assists in that game, and she's not playing in this game. So I do think that 2 of those assists could go to Allisha, and 4 could go to Ryan. Ryan's assist line is 4.5. I think it's a little, I think she lands at 4 or maybe 5. So it's right there. And then Allisha Gray's line is at 3.5, and I think she could land at 5 as well. And I do think she lands at 4. You could look at the 8.5 rebounds and assists. I think that looks okay too. It probably should be 9.5. So we're getting a little bit of value there just because the Aces are playing at home and they're such a good rebounding team. But Allisha Gray isn't really fighting for the same kind of rebounds that A'ja is fighting for. So I like her to also go over the RA line, but we're just taking the assist line for plus money. Tiffany Hayes over 11.5 points. Her points line got dropped by 1, and I think this is a critical point. There's certain, there's not, in my opinion, a big difference between 10.5 and 11.5, but there's a huge difference between 11.5 and 12.5. So to me, I love that we got the dip here. She's over 71% of the time at home, which is why we took her against the Dream as a lean. She has a softer matchup. She just lost at home. This team lost at home, and she only put up 4 points, shot 1 for 9. So you can guarantee she's working on her shot. So yeah, I like her to have a bounce back here, and it is a best bet today instead of just a lean. And then the last one here is Alyssa Thomas over 8.5 assists. She's over only in 50% of her away games, so kind of a coin flip there. She did have 11, though, head-to-head against this team. And in that game, Satu Sabally and Kalia Copper were not playing. So she was dishing it out to Sammy Whitcomb. She was just dishing it out to a bunch of different people and was still able to clear this line without 2 of their best shooters on the court. Now that they have their 2 best shooters back, I think that this ends up being murder. She murders this line. So yeah, I love this one. And then I have 4 alt line plays for you that you can kind of mix and match. I know it's going to be Taco Tuesday, obviously, so we're going to get some of those tacos coming out. I like Jonquel Jones over 9.5 points. She's over 90% of the time this year. She had 12, 11, and 17 in 3 head-to-heads already against this Lynx team. And I know that they like to use Jonquel from the 3-point line, which is not my favorite thing. I wish that they would use her height more down low, have her drive in and score. That is where the Lynx are weak against those players who are willing to drive into the paint and score on them. That is how you beat the Lynx. So I hope that they do that with her more, but regardless, she has been able to hit this line in all 3 of her head-to-heads already. Kamilla Cardoso over 9.5 points. This is down from, I think, 13.5. She's over 88% of the time without Angel Reese, and she did have 13 in one previous head-to-head already not too long ago against the Storm team. So I like her to score here. Someone has to score for the Sky. The last time the Sky had a matchup, we took 2 Sky players, I think, and they both hit because they just don't have bodies to put on the court. So these players have to play, regardless of if it's a blowout or not. These players will be playing the whole game. So they have to be on the court. and I like her to get easily over 9.5 points. Jackie Young over 11.5 points. I know she only just barely had a bad game, but she's over in 88% of games at home, and she did have 14 in a previous home game that was head-to-head against the Dream. I think the Dream are going to focus a lot of their attention on shutting A'ja down, which is why we took the under on Asia's PRA. And now we're taking the over on Jackie Young's points, but we're just taking the altered line. And then the last one here is that Alyssa Thomas 8.5 assists that I just loved. We're taking that down even farther to 6.5 for a 93% hit rate in away game. She has only missed this one time. And she already had 11 against them, like I said, and Satu Sabali and Kalia Copper both were not playing in that game. So I like to bet the normal line here and the altered line. Best bet summary: A'ja Wilson under 40.5 PRA, Tiffany Hayes over 11.5 points, Allisha Gray over 3.5 assists. That one is for plus money. Alyssa Thomas over 8.5 assists. And then our 4 alt lines: Jonquel Jones over 9.5 points, Kamilla Cardoso over 9.5 points, Jackie Young over 11.5 points, and Alyssa Thomas over 6.5 assists. I also think you could take Tiffany Hayes over 7.5 points. That is her altered line, and I did take that bet. There's also an altered line bet for Allisha Gray over 2.5 assists, although I think it's really heavily juiced, so the payout is not very good on that one. But yeah, have fun with Taco Tuesday, mix and match. Like, we never get a 5-game slate on Taco Tuesday, so it's going to be absolutely insane tomorrow. There's also those free promotions for college football on Prize Picks. There's a free pick for NFL football as well on DAC, but you do have 17 days to use that, so you don't have to use it tomorrow if you don't want to. And there's a bunch of other promotions that are out as well. So pay attention to all of those. Mix and match, your favorites from here. And don't forget to drop a comment and let me know, hashtag in the mix, let me know what your 2 favorite of these best bets are. And if they hit, we'll put you in for that cash giveaway. And yeah, till next time, guys.